Hey, look, we're going to Shipwrecks. I'm JP Fallows. Today's Friday, and me and Matt are going to go for a dive. I think bit windy. I think it's like 4-7. They say west southwest, but I reckon it's more. There's a bit more east in it than west, I reckon. In fact, there's probably not. Look at the windsock. It looks like it's northwesterly. Quite strong as well. Someone's rebuilt a really cool little boat there, a really old yacht, a yawl I suppose you'll call that one. Getting the mast put back on, it must be a big day for them. Believe it or not, this is the flattest it's been for a long time. Especially out this side, we've had southeasterlies and southwesterlies all the time, so. See, there's 3 swimmers just here. If you can work them out, they'd be tiny little dots. Don't know where they're swimming to, but they're using the brand new slipway, or the reconditioned slipway that's just been done. Let's go wait for Matt now. I'm not sure where we're going. It's up to Richard where we go. So welcome back below the waves. This is Bailiwick and Guernsey Shipwrecks. I'm JP Fallais and this is where I take you for a dive. The thing is, I normally take you on nice dives, but today's dive looks pretty dark and miserable. But you've got to go on the bad dives to appreciate the good dives. So here we go. As usual on the channel, we're out collecting king scallops. All these shells you see here on the surface are actually dead ones. That one's too small. No, that one isn't even a scallop. There's no back on it. So the top's normally flat and the underside is curved. The curved bark sits down into the sand. As you can see, there's quite a lot of tide ripping through here. There's bits of seaweed flying past me. But there's plenty of scallops. Look at this. It's sitting into the tide. So the tide is actually pushing not just the sand through it, it's also pushing the nutrients through it. Check this out. Must be quite a bit of sand movement here, because that's a boring sponge and they only live on rocks, so I'm guessing there's a rock below there. Also you get clams, some sort of clams. I don't know if that's a Venus clam or not good on them sort of clams. Plenty of scallops though. This one's got 2 slipper limpets on. And you can see the sugar kelps even getting eaten away now. It's right at the end of the season. This is about my limit of how many I can hold in my hand. 5. That's enough. As you'll probably know, you don't really get scallops on rocks, so we're just trying to swim over the top of this as fast as we can. The tide's doing a really good job for us now. It's pushing us along, so we haven't actually got to do that much swimming. I like seeing these and I don't like seeing these. I'd prefer to see these if they were full bottles. It's a free blown bottle. Some people call it black glass, some people call it old glass. It doesn't necessarily need to be black, but this is the bottom, the base of it. This could have been a mallet bottle. Probably an onion bottle though. 1790s, 1800s maybe. So it's called a push-up, and they used to use a sand push-up. They used to basically push it up. Push-up does 2 things. One, it can sit on a table if it's not completely flat. Also it prevents the liquid from sloshing left to right, and if you've got something in there and it's like maybe a wine bottle, this can actually help the sediment stay on the bottom. And they also used to, on some of the old wine bottles, push another little piece of glass up there called a mammal. So we're out on this soft sand now, heading south fairly quickly. If I'm honest, I don't really like scalloping on this type of sand. I prefer it to be a bit more coarse than this, especially if there's a bit of tide kicking up behind you, because I like to stop and I like to swim from left to right across the tide. But this, as you can see, the fines, the sand, are actually trying to overtake me. Another one of my tricks, if there's any fishing gear around, any ropes, you tend to get scallops around the rope as well. So I'm having a good old look around. There's one camouflage with another scallop there. See, this is the ground I like. I like this shaly ground. Prefer it. Don't know why. I just do. As you can see, there's quite a few scallops in this. Not too bad. I missed one there, but that's on purpose. That one's too small. So the percentage between the large and the small, I'd say probably 20% small, 80% large, which seems to be fine because our fishery is quite healthy and we do actually try and look after it. Between all of us divers, it's not just us, it's all the divers that dive in Guernsey. So this is normally where it goes wrong here. So the tide is trying to push around this large reef, and what tends to happen is my line will get pulled, as you can see, and because I'm only in about 20 meters of water, the taiga that's growing on top of this reef tries to catch your line. So I'm going to have to swim up and try and untangle it, because I know it's going to get stuck. another thing you need to do with these when you're on a reel like this is you always keep it taut. Don't let it loop up because it will wrap around you. And 9 times out of 10 it goes around your pillar valve on the top of your tank, which isn't good, especially when you're trying to reel it in and it won't move because of the friction. So making the most of it, checking for scallops as well. Let's have a look up on this reef. Oh, that's cool. Some chain. Doesn't look like chain, I know, but believe me, this is chain. Someone's dumped it, maybe an old mooring of some sort. And this white thing in front. Just reel in a bit more, make sure it's tight at all times. That's a stipe, so that's one of the bits of tego that's been ripped off. That's the hold fast that holds it there. And here we go, look. All it takes is a tiny little bit and that's it, it's stuck. But believe me, you don't want to swim off down tide because sometimes you have to just dump the reel because there's no way you're going to swim back against the tide. And you can't pull it because it's stuck. With diving, it's 50% physical, 50% mental. Best thing to do, just don't panic. If I've got to let the reel go, I'll let the reel go, but I'll sort it out. And there we go, sorted. No more panicking. So I could swim left and around the reef, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually swim away from it into the tide to try and get my rope away from that reef. 165 bar left, that's loads. Some sort of pottery. 80 minutes, no decompression limit, so loads and loads of time. Let's carry on. I'm going to swim across the tide, southwesterly direction. I'll just zigzag left and right through my dust. It's a baby camo crab there, and again onto the nice shaly stuff. No, too small. There we go. There we go, 5 scallops, and one of them was too small. So maybe my 20% is right. Every so often I'll just stop, I'll look up, make sure my line's not tangled against anything, because you can get floaty rope which is up right up above your head. So if you look up and you find your line is actually behind you, you want to start panicking, especially when the tide's pulling you in a certain direction. So I just take a second, have a look around, make sure everything's safe, look ahead, see where I'm heading, and then I'm off again. I bet you guess what I'm going to go look for. Back doors off of it. Is there anyone home? Is there any red antennae? Nope. No lobster today. That's about average for me, I'd say. Maybe slightly above. Thing is, I won't do much filming because the viz is not that good and the tide is so strong. But I'm happy with that. That's the beauty of the reel, you can just let it hang there. Aha. I always look back at the footage and see air leaks out the back of my pillars. It's not the end of the world, but I should really change the O-ring. So me and Matt have drifted down and we're going to that post there is called Oyster. There's a valet, the bathing pools. And to my right is Castle Cornet. I think me and Matt actually went down the same place. Been down here a few times before. This is a very quick surface interval, 15 minutes if that, maybe 10 minutes. Keely's telling me to head up towards the green marker buoy and then swim back out again. Otherwise the tide pulls you into the bay. I'll leave Keeney to size them, and I'll war off again. So it's not very deep here at all. Well, the good thing is you can actually get a couple of flatfish through here sometimes. So shallows right up to 9 metres, but then it starts going deeper again, probably down to 12, and then if you swim back out the bay you go anything down to 42 if you really wanted to swim hard enough. This ground's a lot harder to look at, almost as bad as the Platte, where they got small boulders, sort of. I suppose people call them baby heads because they're sort of the size of a baby head, these boulders. But there's a few hidden in between. You tend to come up a little bit higher off the seabed when you're scalloping in a place like this. I can see a crab pot as well. We go and head towards that. Let's get our lights on as well. Give a bit of colour back to it. Are we going to see another lobster or not? Place your bets now. Nope. And the back door's off of it, so I'm going to leave it. Other divers have probably seen it and cut the back door out of it, or maybe it just had no back door to start off with. That's why the fisherman's chucked it back over the side. Come into these shallows here, you can see all sorts of other shells. I can also see that someone's been through here before me as well. I can see bags, drag marks on the sand from another diver. So I think Matt has actually been through here. But as always, you can swim through a place and get a load of scallops and then get back in the boat and come down the same run again and see even more scallops. It's a cannonball. But I'm not in the mood to get a cannonball today. That's an ormer shell. Plenty of ormer shells, and they're small as well. This is quite common, to be honest, to see loads of ormer shells that have got no ormers in them. There's other things that predate on them, like octopus and seals and crabs. There's plenty of things that eat ormers. So I just took a bearing when I was on the boat, and I'm going to try and swim down that bearing until I see this cardinal buoy for Havelock Bay, the approach for Havelock Bay. And then my plan was to swim out, almost due east, to get back out into the bay. But I haven't got much air, and roughly I know which way I'm swimming. I'm going like 45 degrees to the rifts in the sand. Oh, almost lost one then. Keep that one. But these rifts will change as the bay's curved. These rifts change because they go parallel to the slope. The trick is just trying to figure out how far it actually was. Some people count, they call them fin kicks, but when you're in tide like this, one fin kick could move you a metre. If there was no tide, it could move you half a metre. So don't tend to count fin kicks. I just use intuition. Reassuring noise. You can hear the boat above me, so I'll not go too far. Ooh, caught fish. Notice how it's completely white before I swam up to it. Then it changed colour. I love their eyes. It's like a W-shaped eye. This one's quite a big one as well. Probably 300mm long. But we've lost him in the dust cloud. So let's carry on before we get lost in the dust cloud. Oh, another crab pot. Let's go and have a look. Oh, that's cool. It's a peacock worm that's grown on it. This crab pot must have been here for a long time. I'm not quite sure how long it takes to grow this big leathery tube. But these little bits that are flapping out the back, these orange things, are the actual where they gather the food. And I've just noticed there's 3 baby scallops attached to it. I've never seen anything like that before. Let's see if we can get the light a bit better with the torches. Use my glove as a bit of a white balance. It looks much better now. It's just flapping in the tide. Kind of mesmerising. It's almost as if these baby scallops are parasitic, attached to it. Not quite sure if these are king scallops maybe, or they just queenies. To be honest, I've never really noticed they've actually stick on things. Kind of hard holding my bag in the tide and have a look at this at the same time. You can see how fast the tide's travelling with all this dust. Basically, I need to turn my light off, try and do the white balance, but you just lose all the colours. I need to turn the light back on to replace the colours. Maybe adjust my torches a little. If your torches are too close to your camera, it creates this backscatter. Basically, is the light is hitting the particles in the water and it's showing up on the camera. Trick would be to get really long arms on your lights, but because the way I use my camera, I don't want massive long arms. I want to be able to fold it up and put it alongside me. Look at this, mesmerising. Trying to get a close up of these scallops on the tube. I think it's about time though I left it. That was pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. I've gone back actually, and this is the same cuttlefish. Unless you scare them, they don't really move that much. That's another thing about this sand. It's basically just covered in large hermit crabs. This is their domain. The desolate sands. Right, that's a bit pathetic. Oh well, at least I got some. Can't complain. I can hear the boat, I'm not sure where it is. Another thing that's deceiving underwater is direction of sound, because it reverberates and is so much more dense. Must be time to go up and go home. Oh, that's some hard swimming. I came down between these two bits. Oh, I am knackered. There's a few. Gotta get these sorted. That was no good for filming.
I didn't even bother.
Nah, clip the camera straight back on.
Oh. We both went through the channel.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, I come up and said, I think Jess been through there. He goes, Jess again. Whew, there's no way you're swimming against that tide.
What a good sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you swum inside?
Yeah, not bad. Ah, the sun. It's what we needed. Seen something I've never seen before. It's like a sea fan on the edge of a crab pot with 3 baby scallops attached. For that size.
Eating them or?
Eating size.
No, I mean the sea fan.
Nah, the sea fan won't eat it if it's growing on it.
That's strange.
Never seen it before. You cold in the wheelhouse?
Oh, keep it warm, you know. Us old men are going to look after ourselves.
Yeah, thanks for taking us out, Richard.
Well, my pleasure.
He's good to us, eh?
It is good to us. He wouldn't have got me out.
Nah. Surprise, surprise, Matt beat me again. 63 and a 53. And I had a 53 and an 18. That's our dives done for today. The visibility was poor, very, very dark, and there was a massive amount of tide. But I still enjoyed myself, still got a few scallops. Probably done better than I normally do for some reason. Probably because I was actually spending more time looking where I'm going and looking what I'm trying to catch. Anyway, thanks for coming along on this one, and we'll catch you on the next tide.